Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Coming to Curiosity Stream, go on an adventure 66 million years in the making with Dino Week. From new discoveries about the dinosaurs we thought we knew, to the mind-blowing species still being unearthed, and the controversial discovery that could rewrite history. Did dinosaurs survive longer than imagined? Dino Week on Curiosity Stream. And with monthly, annual, and bundled pricing plans, find the one that works for you at curiositystream.com.
Hey everybody, this is Matt with Deep Woods Paranormal and my lovely wife Amanda.
Hello.
So we're going to be talking about a couple of things tonight. Spiritual protection. I know everybody's going, what the heck is spiritual protection? Or if you already know it's spiritual protection, as you're going, oh great, we're going to talk about spiritual protection. But it's an important thing. If you're in the paranormal field and you're researching ghosts or demons or anything like that, it's super important that you do some kind of spiritual protection. Had too many people, have things go home with them because they, number one, were skeptical, which is great. I love skeptics. Or they just didn't care, and or they forgot. And it's always fun when you get home from an investigation. You're almost asleep, and you get this call, Matt. My closet door just flew open. Matt, there's knocking on the walls. Matt, there's the dresser drawers just pulled out by themselves. Matt, I hear talking, which is always fun for me. So again, it's just something that's very important. It doesn't matter where you go. If the place is said to be haunted, you really, really should use some kind of spiritual protection. And there's multiple types of spiritual protection. For those that are not in the field, let me start out with this. So here's a real simple one. When you go into any location, there's a chance that the spirits could follow you home. If you ever been to Disneyland, they always tease at the end that, and these spirits will follow you home.
That's haunted.
Yeah, the haunted mansion. Right. So that's totally happens all the time. A good location that this happened a lot was a place called Black Star Canyon out in Orange County. If I was doing an investigation with other people that were either kind of new or didn't know about spiritual protection, I would talk to them about that and tell them, hey, at the end of the night, you want to clear yourself. If there's anything with me, you can't go home with me. Another reason for spiritual protection is you don't know what you're talking to. I don't care if you're psychic or sensitive or whatever. Things manipulate people all the time. They are constantly, negative things or if you're religious demonic entities are constantly trying to mess with paranormal investigators. I've seen so many things happen to people. I've actually seen someone possibly get possessed. I've seen people get scratched to the point where they had to go get stitches. Myself, I've been bitten, I've been burned, I've been scratched when I was performing a cleansing in a house. I've also had with a feeling of like thumbs around and hands around my throat to the point where I almost felt like I was going to pass out, so I had to leave the room and had to basically excuse myself from the rest of the investigation. And so lots of bad things can happen when you're doing this kind of stuff. And we'll get into Ouija boards later here. I know everybody's like dying to get into that because that's just like the most, depending on what kind of group you have or whatever, it's either really awesome or it's like the ultimate no. So we'll get into that too. But anyway, spiritual protection. So spiritual protection basically is what it says it is. It's essentially something we use to kind of put up a barrier between us and the spirits. And it's not to stop them from communicating with us or anything like that. It's just to make sure that they don't like drain our energy or make us feel sick or drain us to the point where we just pass out. If you think about spirits, if you're a believer, spirits are just basically some kind of energy, and what they do is they have to sometimes draw energy into themselves to be able to do something, manipulate a device, create an EVP, talk through the spirit box, light up arcade 2s, or show themselves on camera, or move something, or whatever they do. That's some kind of a manifestation. So essentially, what we want to do is we want to protect ourselves from having that happen to us. So we can put up like a mental bubble, where we're basically just imagining a bubble around ourselves. And that bubble, basically keeps that energy from being pulled away from us. And go ahead, babe.
I don't have anything to say.
Oh, okay. My wife's over there. I think she's trying to stretch her arm or something. I thought she was raising her hand. Welcome to the spiritual.
I am not raising my hand. Thank you.
Welcome to the class. So, anyways, there's other types. Some people, like me now, I use more of a mental toughness. I've been through so many locations, thousands and thousands of locations at this point, and I've done battle with negative or demonic entities, and I've been around positive or angelic entities. I've been around so many different types of haunts that at this point I can kind of pick up on what's going on around me, and if I feel like I'm being threatened, I just basically tell it to back off. Back off, you're not allowed to mess with me. Sometimes I still do get drained a little bit, or I have something happen to me. I mean, nobody's 100% bulletproof, unfortunately, in this field. But another way to protect yourself is through religion. Some people will sit there and they'll do religious prayers. You saw Amanda basically when Avery was attacked at the Woodbine Hotel. she's very, very religious. Did you want to talk about that?
Sure. Well, everybody has different beliefs. I want to point out that, I respect everybody's beliefs, and this is just my belief. I have many friends of different beliefs, and I respect every single one of people's beliefs, if that makes sense. But I am religious. I believe in God, and that is what I use as spiritual protection. If I think that I'm going into a negative haunt, I do wear my cross, and I ask God to protect me. It's just what I believe in. And so when Avery was being attacked, that's something that was automatic. It's not even anything that I really think about. I did grow up in the church with, my aunt was very religious. My mother is not. My brother is an atheist, and my mother is a little bit religious. So, I've learned about all kinds of different faiths. But that's who I choose to get my protection from, or, it's what I've learned. And the reason why, and I think, when you're young, you learn different things, and I was very open to different things, and so I went to many different churches. I've been to the Catholic Church, the Protestant Church, I've been to the Mormon Church. I want to learn, about different beliefs, and I've been to multiple different churches. Anyways, my point being is where I learned to pray was from my aunt, and my aunt is super religious, and she speaks in tongues, and people believe in that, and some people don't. And she also sees demons, and unless you've experienced it and been in a situation, I don't expect you to believe it. I know Matt says it a lot, but when I was little, my cousins and I had a Ouija board, and here we go into the Ouija board, but it goes into my beliefs.
We opened that door.
Yep. But we had a Ouija board, and we were in my cousin's bedroom in the very back of the house, and my aunt was in the kitchen talking to her mom. They were both our aunts. talking to her mom, and we had the door shut, and we didn't tell anybody that we were in there with the Ouija board. And the puck was moving around. Now, this was a long time ago. I don't remember what it was saying, but what I do remember is my aunt bursting in the room and saying that there was a demon in the house and chasing it around. So she's done that more than once in my life, and it's when it seems so far-fetched and unbelievable to a lot of people. But another time, I was spending the night at her house, and I was having a horrible nightmare. I was like, the nightmare was about murder. I remember it very specifically. People were being murdered in my dream. My aunt woke me up from the middle of the dream, seeing that there was a demon standing over me, and chased it out of the house. These things sound so, like, unbelievable. But that happened. And so, I'm a logical thinker as well. I don't understand how she would know that I was having a nightmare. I don't understand how she would know to storm into the room and actually look like she's physically chasing something that we can't see. It's just so unbelievable to me. But at some point, you have to believe in something, I think. At least that's my opinion.
Well,
so,
yeah, to add into what she's saying, you know, if you don't believe in ghosts, or you don't believe in, and I tell this to skeptics all the time, you know, you don't have to believe in ghosts. You don't have to believe in demons or angels or anything like that. Just like Amanda said, you have to believe in something. I always tell people who are skeptical, then that's fine. Just have a real positive energy around you, and don't let anything break that barrier.
right.
If something starts to break that barrier, you need to let me know, because more than likely something's trying to mess with you.
Yeah, but if you don't believe in ghosts, that is believing in something. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you believe that there aren't any ghosts. That is your belief. So you do believe in something. You know what I mean? So, I respect everybody's beliefs, but long story short, that is partly why I'm religious.
Yeah. And I mean, Amanda's been with me, gosh, she's been with me, unfortunately, through some really tough times in my life. She's been in that one house I talked about 4 or 5 episodes ago, where I talk about where I was living in a house with a demonic entity, and it was messing with me. And that's when I was like 19 or 20, and you know, she came over and she basically helped me, you know, get over my fear of what was going on. And you know, we basically, that's kind of, you know, she's seen things in that house happen that just there's no explanation for. And it was definitely in a negative. It was definitely negative. It was meant to scare. It was meant to frighten and to try and scare her, so she wouldn't help me. And so, you know, it just, I've been like, and myself, I've been through so many negative haunts that it just, I hate them. I absolutely hate them. But when I do go into those places, again, I use spiritual protection. I might bless myself. I might bless the people in the house. I carry different types of stones. I don't want to get into all the stones right now, but there are books on crystals and stones that you can use for spiritual protection. There's, like I said, positive energy. You can put positive energy around yourself. You can just use a mental toughness, and don't let anything mess with you mentally, because negative or demonic entities, that's their favorite thing to do, is to mentally mess with you, start to make you doubt yourself or make you feel worthless or whatever. That's usually where things start with cases that are bad, is people start to feel self-doubt, and you know, they start to hate themselves, and then they start to hate everybody around them, and the next thing you know, sorry, I got a little puppy here that likes to bark. Yeah, she's barking because other dogs are barking. So, anyways, yeah, that's the main reason we use spiritual protection, is basically to keep the negative energy away from us, or negative entities away from us. There are spirits too that will steal energy from you, and they're not trying to hurt you. They just need energy to manifest, and so they're just taking some energy. And sometimes, especially if they're newer spirits, they may not know when to stop or when that they're hurting you, and so that's another barrier we have to create. If we've never been into a location, our guards might be up a little bit more, and we want to make sure that we teach whatever's at that location, hey, it's fine if you want to draw from our equipment. Go ahead and drain our batteries. Go ahead. Drain the batteries, drain whatever. We have EM pumps for you to use, but we don't want you to drain us. Because once you drain us, we start to get sick, we might get nauseous, we might get headaches, or we might even have to stop the investigation altogether and maybe take somebody to the hospital if it gets serious enough. And that's actually happened before, where I've had to stop an investigation because somebody got drained to the point where they passed out. When they came to, they were severely nauseous. They couldn't talk. They didn't know where they were. They were completely out of it. And so we ended up taking that person to the hospital. That's the only time that ever happened to me. And that person refused spiritual protection. They thought they were fine. Oh, I'm good. Now, everywhere that person goes, they pretty much do spiritual protection.
But also, I want to point out that spiritual protection does not have to be religious.
Oh, no. It can, like I said, it can be anything. It can be a mental barrier. It can be just, having a positive energy around you. You can use spirituality. You can carry a cross. Like I carry some certain cases. I will bless my crucifix that I wear around my neck. Before I go into my location, I might do the sign of the cross over my head. I might bless the people with me. Other times, we're going into a location where we don't feel like we need to do that. Everybody will just clear themselves at the end of the night. So if you walk into a location that you think might be haunted, I always recommend go have fun, enjoy yourself, communicate with the spirits, say hi, how are you? Treat them just like they're normal people, because they were at one point. And then when you're done, you get to your car, or if you're going home over to a motel or something, just staying up the street or something where you're walking, just say, listen, I've enjoyed talking to you and communicating with you, but we're done. You please go back to where you came from. You don't need to come home with me. We just want to clear yourself. The next morning, if you're going home, same thing. Get in your car. Make sure you get the car started before you say this, because we've done demonic cases. Brand new car.
Where the car just doesn't start.
It won't start. We had to sage the hell out of the car. We blessed the car. We had a priest. Almost had to have a priest come out to help us. And finally, that car started after we saged it and blessed it. And then finally, we put a circle of salt around it. I think at one point, one of the people helped us. A friend of mine came and helped us, who was very gifted with that. And we finally got the car started. We got that person home safely. We checked in on them afterwards. They cleared themselves multiple times before they went into their home. And then, we basically learned that lesson. So
yeah, and recently we went to a cemetery, and a lot of people out here drive four-wheelers and, what are those things called that look like golf carts? But
it's like a Polaris or something.
Yeah, and they just showed up because they saw, our vehicle and our signs and that kind of thing. And they didn't believe us when we told them to protect themselves prior to starting their vehicle. And they had just driven over there. They just got gas in it. It was a brand new Polaris thing, shiny. Two women that, they spent a good time out investigating with us, and then they didn't believe us and went over to start their Polaris, and it didn't start.
Yeah.
And Matt had to go over there and bless their car.
Yeah.
And then it started.
Right. So, yeah, that's just something that you got to be really careful of. That was dealing with more of a demonic type haunt, though, or a negative haunt, if you will.
Right, but that's what you were just talking about.
Yeah, so, if you get into those situations, more or less you should call a paranormal team to come help you out, number one. Number two, we're here in Texas, so we can help you as well if you need help. But, just be careful when you're messing with the paranormal. Or mainly ghost hunting. All paranormal you should be very careful when you're messing with all paranormal, but especially the paranormal, the ghost hunting and stuff. If you get into a situation where you feel like it's a demonic haunt or a negative haunt or something just doesn't feel right, it's okay to leave, but make sure you clear yourself before you leave. So that's something we try and do every time we leave in a location. And a lot of the times some of us will carpool or whatever. We get ourselves down the road, we do it, and then we go home. Anyways, this is dragging on. So,
we can go on and
anyways, another thing you can do is if you get sage, you can do a saging of a car, or you can sage up before you go into a location as well. So there's lots of different spiritual protections, but those are some of the main things that we use.
And you can, have your own things that you use for protection. It's really about your conviction. The conviction that you have, whatever you're using, whatever, force or item or sage or anything that you're using, it's the spirit of conviction that you believe that that's going to protect you.
Right. So, spiritual protection over. I hope everybody kind of just got our point, because it is a very important thing. It's a very important part of investigations, especially afterwards. A lot of teams just don't clear themselves, and then, like I said,
most people think it's silly.
Yeah, but it really isn't. So, anyways, we're gonna be talking about Ouija boards. I think is what Amanda wanted to talk about next week.
Yes. So we're going to talk about Ouija boards. We're going to talk about using them, the beliefs, and then some stories. And we'll try to, put as much as we can in the podcast next week. But it might be a 2 or 3 part series about the Ouija board. Yeah.
Because there's just so many stories and things that, I've heard about them.
And I've experienced.
Yeah. Well, Amanda has an actual experience with them. I did too, but my experience was different than hers. I actually disposed of the Ouija board. And
did you burn it?
Okay, let's give away the story. Yeah, I did. I threw it into the fire.
That's for next week.
Yeah, I threw it into the fire.
Or possibly 2 weeks. So you get the whole story.
Yeah. So I just threw it into the fire, but yeah, there's more to this story.
Yeah, we'll leave it for later.
But yeah, crazy. All right, guys. Well, let's just kind of drag it out a little bit long. If you have any questions,
tonight.
Well, I want to make sure I get my point across about spiritual protection, because it's, like I said, it's really one of the most important things of ghost hunting. I mean,
and it really is a very short, succinct thing.
Right.
It doesn't take up that much of your time.
Right. When you're done with the investigation, you get in your car, get to that first stop sign. I always tell people, if there's anything with me, you cannot go home with me. You get halfway home.
Get it, babe. You've said it already.
Yeah, you get halfway home. If there's anything with me, you can't go home.
He's really passionate about this.
Yes, because
he gets phone calls, that's why.
Yeah, I get phone calls after the investigation. Something's come on with me. And then I get to go over, I'm exhausted, I get to go over and try and deal with whatever's at this person's house. And, guess where our next investigation is? Your house.
Yay!
Yeah, and believe me, you don't want that. Whatever, and sometimes these things that go home with us are not exactly friendly. They're angry spirits, or who knows what they are. Sometimes they're friendly, but most of the time they're just angry spirits, or they're just traveling spirits, and they didn't actually come from where we were, or whatever. Like I said, I used to do the tours as well, so I would tell people out there the tours as well at Black Star Canyon, clear yourself, because I don't want to have this issue. So, all right, guys. Well, I appreciate you listening. Thank you guys for listening to us ramble about spiritual protection.
Tune in next week for a discussion on Ouija boards.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Ouija boards and a few other cool things. So we'll talk to you guys later. Thank you again.
Have a great night.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.